Hello and welcome back to the channel. I want to do a very short and sweet video around letting go today, around detaching from your manifestation, because really and truly, this is such an important piece of the equation when it comes to manifesting. And I see so many of you like really holding on to what you want to manifest, and it's keeping that manifestation from coming. And again, we are all manifesting all the time, whether we realize it or not, whether we're conscious of it or not. I should say, whether we're consciously trying to or not, right? But I assume if you are here, you definitely believe in the power of manifestation, or you want to get better at co creating in your life. So you are in the right place. And let's really dive into this. And again, as best as possible, I want to make this really clear for you. So, what I want to specifically share here is kind of one, a practice, and two, like how you know if you have let go, right? Like if you have let go of the thing that you want to manifest. And I know in my own experience, when I let go, it just happens, right? And I know that you probably hear this all the time, but you're like, I have let go, I am letting go, but it's not showing up. What's going on? What is wrong? So this will be perfect for you and really help you kind of deepen into this practice. All right. One, I really want you to remember that you are co creating with the divine, with source, with God, the creator, the universe, however you identify that higher power. And that co creation is not happening outside of you. That higher power lives within you. It is experiencing your life right through you. So often I find that we are afraid to let go of the thing that we want to manifest. We're afraid to surrender to it because we think that if we let go, that, the powers that be aren't going to know what we want, aren't going to remember, right? This like desire on our heart, this really big thing that we are longing to create, right? It's like if we let it go, then it's not going to happen because I don't know, like almost like the prayer won't be answered, or it will just get like lost in the ether, right? But that's not true because again, you are co-creating, and that power is in you. It lives within you. It is you. And how could something that is literally like creating through you forget the desires that are on your heart? How could that higher power that is experiencing this 3D life through you forget the very desires that I believe were put there for a reason, right? So even just leaning into that, surrendering to that trust and that knowing. And that is why a spiritual practice, when it comes to manifestation, versus just some of these like do a vision board and some of these other methods that I honestly don't really even know about because I don't do them. And I'm not saying that they don't work for some people, but when it comes to letting go, it really is about the trust and the surrender. And the best way to cultivate that, the best way to cultivate that deep trust that you are co creating, that everything is working out for you, is through deepening your own spiritual practices. And I'm not going to really get into that in this video. I'm sure a lot of you have some of those practices already. If you want more practices, if you want me to give you more tangible practices around that, drop that in the comments. I'm happy to create some more specific videos around like deepening into your own spiritual practices, or just things that I do. And maybe I'll create a video anyway, but regardless, drop it in the comments if that would be helpful for you. Okay, so that is first and foremost, because again, when we are truly connected, when we feel that connection to that higher power within, we feel supported, right? Like for me, it's like I can literally feel that. I can drop into that in this moment and I instantly feel lighter. I instantly let go. I instantly, again, feel that surrender and the peace and the ease that comes along with that. So then let's move into, okay, well, how I have this thing that I want and I'm really trying to let go. I'm really trying to surrender to it, but I keep thinking about it. I keep, wondering when it's going to come, right? Right there, right? If you keep looking for it, you're not surrendered to it. And again, I know this is hard. It can be counterintuitive because it's like, how do I surrender to the thing that I want? And then my mind keeps like going to the fact that I don't have it. So, practice number one, what is it that the thing that you want, what is the feeling that you think it will give you? Okay. Practice just being in that feeling without the thing. Okay. And I know that this may sound crazy, but you can get there. I promise, right? Like, is it joy? Is it a deep sense of peace? Whatever that may be, you can drop into that feeling now. Maybe you can remember a past time that you felt that way. Maybe you can just imagine and visualize yourself having this and just let the natural feelings of whatever that is bringing up for you and just letting yourself sit in it, because the mind doesn't know whether or not you have the thing that you want to manifest or not, right? It is just experiencing this moment in the present, whether it's like a mental image or it's actually available to us in the 3D. Okay, so dropping into that feeling. And then this is really what I find to be a super helpful practice or just kind of way to think about, like, how have I let go? How have I surrendered? Have I let go? And it's really, okay, I'm going to use kind of a, I don't know, I don't want to call it silly because it's my example, so I don't want to say that it's silly, but this is, it's a physical example. So I had been experiencing some thinning hair, like after my second child was born. I was just, having some hair loss. It's like totally normal, but again, I was experiencing some hair loss and my hair just wasn't as thick as it used to be, and it kept feeling like it was getting thinner. And I had tried all of these products and some of them seemed to work a little bit, but nothing like seemed to work the way that I wanted. And I remember, in hindsight, it's so easy to see all this. I remember a lot of the products, one of the things that they, um, one of the outcomes, right, is like less shedding. Okay. So I kept focusing on this idea of, okay, I want to see less shedding, less shedding, less shedding. And I could feel myself being like anxious around this. Like if I took a shower and I was seeing like more shedding or still a lot of shedding, I was anxious. I could like feel my body like, I'm not seeing less shedding. I'm not seeing less shedding. And then finally I had this epiphany where I'm like, why am I not using manifestation for this, right? Like I use manifestation for everything. Why am I not using manifestation for this? And in that moment, I realized that I had been focused on the words less shedding. And when I was thinking of less shedding, I was again physically feeling anxious, right? I was like physically having a reaction in my body. And I know, like, you can lean into however this feels for you, but this is how it works, right? We have a thought that we don't like, and then our body reacts, and sometimes vice versa, but I'm not going to go into that. But okay, stick with me here. So I was feeling that anxiousness come up, and now I'm like, oh, because I was focused on these words, less shedding. And when I was seeing more shedding, then I was feeling anxious, right? So then I was like, why am I focused on shedding? I don't want to, the mind isn't always thinking like less shedding. It's just like hearing shedding. It's like, attached to this like sensation of anxiety, and I'm not actually letting go of the idea that I want to manifest hair growth, thicker hair, fuller hair, right? That's what I want. But I wasn't connected to that outcome. I was connected to this idea of shedding, and then when I was seeing it, I was getting anxious, right? So I had not let go. So instead, this is what I practiced doing. I stopped using the phrase less shedding, and I started saying, I don't have thick, full hair, right? I don't have thick and full hair. And this is how I knew that I was starting to let go. Because again, it wasn't that I let go of the intention. It wasn't that I let go of the desire, the thing that I wanted. It was that I let go of the negative emotion surrounding the thing that I want, right? So, what I did in practicing, I don't have thick and full hair, I could do that with a smile, just like I have now. I could feel ease and peace and okayness, contentment. Like I was just okay, right? Like it wasn't like, oh my gosh, my hair is not thick and full and like, right, like I'm all like tied and like holding onto it and depressed about it and sad. It was like, no, like I don't have thick and full hair, right? I don't have $1 million. I don't have, um, you know, whatever it may be, right? I'm not gonna keep like put things out there, but so it's just like, can you say the thing that you want? Say that you don't have it without having that negative emotion attached to it. That is the key. And when you do that, you can still hold the intention for the thing that you want, right? Maybe at nighttime, I shouldn't say maybe, at nighttime, right before bed, visualize exactly what it is that you want, right? And then being, totally okay with like, you know, as you're going through your day, I don't have this, right? I don't have $1 million, but now you're focused on $1 million. You're focusing on $10,000. You're focusing on $5,000, whatever it may be. But you feel a sense of like calm and ease and detachment around that. Because what that's basically signaling is like, even without this thing, I feel centered. I'm not attached to the outcome. I still feel wonderful and great and okay without that, right? That's when you know that you are no longer attached to it. And in the specific example around my hair loss, when I started to do that, I literally then started to notice less shedding, more hair growth, little baby hairs like popping up. So, one example. Another quick story, because it's fun and it's simple. And this is what I believe when I say like everyday magic. Like we have this inside of us. And oftentimes we're trying to manifest these really big things, but magic is happening all the time, right? And it's so fun to tap into that and see what you can co create, because it's not just about the big things. Life is mainly lived in like the mundane and the everyday moments, right? And that is really so beautiful. So, this will be the last example that I share. Then I'll quickly share a practice, just kind of checking my time a little bit because I don't want this to be super long. But I used to get terrible fever blisters, like huge fever blisters that, just got like really big and they were just painful. And I've gotten them my whole life. And I believe it was last Thanksgiving, so a little over a year ago, I started to notice a fever blister coming on my lip. And I was like, oh, I really don't want to have a fever blister at Thanksgiving and getting together with family. And again, I was like, I don't have to. I don't have this fever blister. Like I'm in control. This fever blister doesn't have to be here for Thanksgiving. So what I did was in bed, as I was getting to fall asleep, I simply visualized a photograph that I looked at on my phone at the end of the day on Thanksgiving of me and my husband and our kids, having this beautiful Thanksgiving family portrait. And I have a smile free of fever blister, right? And that's all. I was just visualizing. I wasn't so wrapped up in like me not having the fever blister and trying to make it go away. It was just, I visualized me in that moment looking at a picture on my phone, and again, smile without a fever blister. And what do you know? I woke up the next morning and it was not there. I cannot stress this enough when I say that I have dealt with these massive fever blisters my whole life. I often get them when I'm getting a cold, when I'm feeling stressed, right? Around the holidays, it's easy for that to happen. You have a lot going on. And I couldn't believe it. And within the past year, I got more fever blisters last year than I ever have. Or I should say, I started to feel them coming on more than I ever have. And I believe that this was a test like, okay, you did it once. Can you keep doing it? Right? Like, can you free yourself of fever blisters? And sure enough, every single time I let go of the stress and like the just like, oh, I don't want to deal with this, right? Like the heaviness, I let go of that feeling and instead was like, I don't have to have this fever blister, right? Like I can wake up tomorrow and I don't have to have it. And it has worked every single time when I have let go of the stress and the worry around that. Okay, so sorry, my nose is running here a little bit. I hope that helps. I want to share, I want to share one little practice with you of letting go. Okay, so there's so much collective anxiety. I see it on people's face everywhere I go. I feel it for them. Couple of like simple practices. Stop watching the news. Just stop. I had to stop watching the news during COVID, at the beginning of COVID, because I knew that if I needed to take care of my kids and I was so wrought with like anxiety and worry that I was like, this isn't serving me and my family. And honestly, if something crazy is gonna happen, like I'm gonna hear about it. A family member is gonna call. Like if the world's gonna come to an end, then I don't know. I'm either gonna find out about it or we're all just gonna be gone. And hopefully, living a beautiful, conscious existence somewhere in the afterlife, right? So stop watching the news. Start tuning into st- tuning into, maybe even be not right the right word. Start focusing your intention on how you want to feel. When you notice thoughts of overwhelm, anxiety, like that not having that thing, whatever that feels like for you, right? Whether it feels stressful or whatever it is, don't try to push it away. Okay, this is what so many of us get wrong. We try to push the feelings away. We don't want to feel stressed. We don't want to feel that anxiety. We don't want to feel that fear, whatever that may be. Usually there's something deeper, but again, video for another day. Instead of pushing it away, just noticing, right? Sitting with it, breathing into it, not judging it, just allowing it to be there. We think that in trying to push it away, it will make it go away. It will make us feel better. But that's false, because what happens is we get like stuck in this loop of the mind constantly going back to the feeling and what they think created the feeling, what they think is stressful, what they think is making them worry, etc. When all you need to do is feel the feeling. Feel the freaking feeling, okay? Drop into that. Where are you feeling it in your body? Is it in your chest? Is it in your stomach? Is it in your throat? Breathing into it, letting it be there, right? Usually this only takes 90 seconds to move this emotion. But if you have 5 minutes, just sit there, just enjoy that moment for yourself. And then from that place, focus your intention on the desired outcome, right? And not like, this is what I want to happen. Focusing it on as if it's already done. And we do that by associating the visual image again with the feeling. So now that you have embraced whatever that negative emotion is, now you can connect to the intention of what you want and how you want to feel. And then just sit with that. Just be in that feeling. And bonus points if you can create more intention and mindfulness throughout your day to tap into that desired feeling, to tap into that intention more often as you go through the day, right? Maybe as you're pouring your morning coffee, you breathe a little bit, you tap into that feeling of ease. Maybe as you're driving home from work, you tap into, I don't know, maybe the feeling of like freedom or fun, or again, whatever feels true to you. But you can access that anytime you want. And the more you focus on that, the more things will start to shift in your favor. You'll see it working out in your favor. You will be delighted and surprised at how lighter and easier things get And those are the shifts that open you up to receiving your manifestation or better. Okay. And oftentimes it's better when you let go. Okay. So, again, I know this was a little bit longer than I intended. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you give one of these practices a try. Let me know in the comments how it goes. Let me know. Yeah, just let me know what you need support with. I love hearing from you. I love connecting with you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you next.